International News Edition. Cross-border shelling from Yemen kills a Saudi citizen, while Saudi-led coalition airstrikes kill at least 6 people in the capital, Sana'a. Iran nuclear talks have virtually stalled, and a deadline for a final deal may have to be postponed again. And pioneering smartphone maker BlackBerry is thinking about putting rival Android software on its smartphone for the first time. Good evening and very warm welcome to the news. The Foreign Ministry said that it is following up on the condition of 4 Jordanian medical students who were attacked in Ukraine last night. The ministry spokesperson, Sabah al-Rafi'i, said that a Jordanian official is currently at the hospital where the students are receiving treatment. 3 of the students are reported to be in a critical condition. The students were injured when they were attacked by unidentified gunmen in their housing complex. Saudi Civil Defense Forces said a Saudi citizen was killed and another injured near the Yemeni border by shelling from forces loyal to former Yemeni President Ali Abdullah Saleh and Houthi rebels. The shelling occurred after Friday prayers as people were leaving a mosque in the southwestern Saudi border area of Jizan. Parts of the mosque were damaged. In the Yemeni capital, meanwhile, at least 6 people were killed in Saudi-led coalition airstrikes, and part of Sana'a's old city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was also destroyed. The raid, which began in the early hours, also injured several people, reduced 5 houses to rubble, and damaged other buildings. UNESCO condemned the bombing, noting that historical buildings, monuments, museums, and archaeological sites across the country had all suffered since the start of the conflict. The World Health Organization said over 2,500 people have been killed and about 11,000 injured in the conflict so far. UN-sponsored talks are due to be held in Geneva on Sunday to try to find a solution to the crisis, which has left 80% of the population needing some form of humanitarian aid. Members of Syria's Druze minority have helped repel a rebel attack on an army base in the south, mobilizing to confront insurgents, including Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said rebels had been driven from the base, which they had partly captured yesterday, by airstrikes and Druze fighters from nearby Sweda. A Druze leader from Sweda said young men from the city had helped recapture the disused Al-Thu'la air base. A rebel leader confirmed that the government side had sent reinforcements to the base. U.S. President Barack Obama said American forces being sent to a new operations center in the heart of the war against Daesh will not engage in combat, but they will do almost everything to support the beleaguered Iraqi forces. Obama earlier authorized the deployment of up to 450 troops to work with the dispirited 8th Iraqi Army Division as it tries to regroup and ultimately drive the terrorist forces back out of the city of Ramadi that they had overrun last month. But the Shiite militia fighting in Iraq against Daesh said that the key to success in liberating Ramadi is recapturing Fallujah. U.S. defense officials said that less than a quarter of the 450 U.S. troops would be engaged in train and assist mission, while the rest would handle security and other missions. 7 people were shot dead at a protest against Daesh in the eastern Libyan city of Derna. Residents said the protesters marched after Friday prayers towards the terrorist group's main base in Derna, where gunmen opened fire into the crowd. They added about 30 people were wounded. 9 suspected Daesh members were killed during separate clashes with other terrorist groups in the coastal city. In the Libyan capital Tripoli, the Tunisian Foreign Ministry said an armed group stormed the Tunisian consulate and kidnapped 10 staff. The ministry said that the incident was a blatant attack on Tunisian national sovereignty and a flagrant violation of international laws and diplomatic norms. Russian news agency TASS said nuclear talks between Iran and 6 world powers have virtually stalled, and a deadline for a final deal may have to be postponed again. It said the latest round of discussions in Vienna today made no significant progress. The United States said it stands by the end June deadline for the deal, while other officials indicated the date might be missed as negotiations about technical details drag on. Among the unresolved issues are the pace of easing Western sanctions imposed over the Iranian program and the monitoring and verification measures to ensure Iran could not pursue its nuclear weapons program. Now, let's bring to you some business news. Smartphone maker BlackBerry moved forward on a plan to launch an Android device. The device would keep its hardware keyboard, but it's said to be a slide-out keyboard model. The Android phone would mark the company's pivot to focus on software and device management. BlackBerry is down to less than 1% market share now, so it really has nowhere to go but up. This report has more.
Remember BlackBerry? The pioneering smartphone maker is thinking about doing what was once considered unthinkable, putting rival Android software on its smartphone for the first time. Sources tell Reuters it'll probably use Google's Android on an upcoming phone this fall that will combine a touchscreen with a physical keyboard. That would give its keyboard-loving fans access to the much wider selection of apps that Android offers. Such a move would be an acknowledgement that its revamped line of phones hasn't gained mass appeal. The company had bet big on its BlackBerry 10 line. The problem, it lacks a big lineup of apps. The company that once ruled the smartphone world now has less than a 1% share of the market, so many developers aren't designing apps for it. Another reason for BlackBerry to add Android, the company is touting its new mobile management device platform. That system allows institutional clients to manage and secure devices ranging from BlackBerries to those running on Apple's and Windows operating systems. With its own Android device, BlackBerry could show it's confident it can manage devices powered by rival operating systems. BlackBerry shares down 16% this year, rising in early trading. While BlackBerry has slashed the number of workers in its bid to turn itself around, it says it's still committed to making devices.
Now, let's take you to Sydney, where a former rugby player broke his arm on live TV arm wrestling with another player, to the shock of the audience. The event was held for charity on the... Tour de France champion Vincenzo Nibali is in a strong position to add to the Criterium du Dauphiné after a dramatic sixth stage. Nibali was on course to win the grueling 183-kilometer session from Sabonnet on Champs-Élysées to Villard-du-Lons before being overtaken by Rui Costa just meters from the finish line. But his efforts gave him the overall lead with a 29-second advantage over Costa. Alejandro Valverde was third, 38 seconds behind. TJ Van Garderen, who lead the race going into the sixth stage, is 42 seconds back in fifth. Sweden captain Zlatan Ibrahimovic said he was not about to leave Paris Saint-Germain and return to AC Milan, despite his good relationship with the Italian club CEO Adriano Galliani. PSG fans are unlikely to be comforted by the comments, however, as the striker said he had been in regular contact with Galliani since leaving Italy in 2012 to join PSG. Ibrahimovic's 3 goals in qualifying for France 2016 have helped Sweden into second place in Group G on 9 points, 4 behind leaders Austria and 4 ahead of Montenegro. Now the weather outlook. Cool weather is forecast for the hilly areas tonight and fair elsewhere in the country. Winds will be northwesterly moderate. That will remain so for tomorrow. Moderate conditions will prevail tomorrow across much of the country except in the Jordan Valley, where it will be hot. Temperatures there hovering around the mid-30s. Hot weather is also forecast for the Gulf of Aqaba with calm seas. Now look at temperatures forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Now, our top stories, once again. Cross-border shelling from Yemen kills a Saudi citizen, while Saudi-led coalition airstrikes kill at least 6 people in the capital, Sana'a. Iran nuclear talks have virtually stalled, and a deadline for a final deal may have to be postponed again. And pioneering smartphone maker BlackBerry is thinking about putting rival Android software on its smartphone for the first time. And that's the end of tonight's news. My name is Radl Abdoush. Thank you for your company.